privilege tonight is the honor of introducing your commencement speaker. And she is remarkable. Our graduates know that a college education is an important key to a successful career. But an education is only a portion of one's key to success. He or she must also work hard, keep learning, take risks, and in some cases be a trendsetter, going where no person has gone before. This could describe our commencement speaker, Rear Admiral Michelle Howard. After graduating from high school, she did what few women of color did at that time, enrolled at the U.S. Naval Academy. Upon graduation and receiving her commission, she rejected the safety of a land job, instead serving on naval warships. She began her career on the USS Hunley and then the USS Lexington. While on the latter ship, the Secretary of the Navy awarded her the Captain Winifred Collins Award. This award is given annually to that woman officer who has exhibited outstanding leadership. She continued her service aboard the USS Mount Hood during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. She later served on the USS Flint and then the USS Tortuga, where she was the executive officer, the second in command of the vessel. Here she was deployed in the Adriatic Sea in support of the peacekeeping effort in the former Republic of Yugoslavia, which was awash with ethnic strife, leading to the deaths of thousands. In 1999, she became the first African-American woman to command a warship in the U.S. Navy when she was assigned to the USS Rushmore. She later left the seas for important land-based jobs, including J3 Global Operations, Readiness Joint Staff, Executive Assistant to the Joint Staff Director of Operations, Deputy Director N3 on the OpNav staff, Deputy Director Expeditionary Warfare Division, OpNav staff, and Senior Military Assistant to the Secretary of the Navy. In 2006, she was promoted to the rank of Rear Admiral, making her the first admiral, not the first woman admiral, the first admiral selected from the Naval Academy class of 1982, and the first woman graduate of the United States Naval Academy elevated to the rank of admiral. She exemplifies what a good education, strong work ethic, and belief in oneself can accomplish. I am truly honored to introduce our commencement speaker, Rear Admiral Michelle Howard.
Tisha, you could see I was passing my money a little earlier for that kind introduction. Thank you very much. Well, Ms. Krug, distinguished guests, faculty, students, and very, very soon, graduates, good evening. Dr. Gottfried, before I start, I got to tell you, when you talked about the married couple, my mind froze on that thought, and I just kept thinking, it brings a whole new meaning to the words cooperate and you graduate. Just incredible. So in addition to the married couple, we have many more wonderful students in the audience. And this ceremony marks a major milestone. And although I'm aware that this particular group of achievers is a little bit older and that many of you have life experiences outside of the academic world, I feel compelled to follow the route of other commencement speakers and provide you some thoughts on life that starts tomorrow. You've demonstrated success in the classroom. I'd like to discuss the success that comes after the classroom. We all assess our lives in different ways, and how we define ourselves is germane to the discussion. But we frequently also define success in terms of how others see us. And so, for example, when I had command of USS Rushmore, I was asked to speak to another group of thoughtful students. These were elementary children in a San Diego school. And after introducing myself, the youngsters were allowed to ask questions. And thankfully, they were easy with me at first. I was able to answer with confidence good questions like, why are Navy ships gray? And do you see dolphins at sea? Then a young boy stood up. He started with, how can you be in command of a ship? And he paused, searching for words. In that 2-second pause, so much went through my mind. Was he going to comment on me being a woman? And then I found myself praying, dear God, please do not let this child ask me about my heritage. And then he continued, how can you be in command of a ship? You're short. Wow. Life success is not about your height. Life success is about aspiring to the heights. So how you manage that successful climb? How do you manage that successful climb, and how do you overcome the challenges on this journey of life? So I'd like to answer that question by talking about one of my heroes, my mother. My mother was raised in England in World War II, and let's just say her childhood was tough. And despite the trying times, she was a Girl Guide, and she continued Girl Scouting in this country after she married my father and moved here. And growing up, we spent many weeks each year camping and hiking in wonderful places like Colorado, Alaska, and New England. My mother is a woman of absolutes. If you've heard the expression, there's no crying in baseball, her version would be, there's no crying, period. And it's against that attitude that I and my 3 siblings would be tested. For my mother, there was much about outdoor life that provided opportunities to build our character and our resources. We were expected to be able to carry heavy packs while scaling mountains, pinch tents quickly as the sun set, and rustle up a meal for many over an open campfire. And as a scout leader, my mother took none of these skills for granted. We had to prove ourselves through demonstration, and my mother was the sole authority as to whether we passed or failed. And among the many standards set to determine if we were capable outdoor scouts was the test of the one-match fire. The one-match fire. In my mother's version of outdoor life, a woodsman should be able to light a fire and have it roar into success with a single match. Now, I believe her reasoning was nested in some childhood deprivation. In World War II, matches were a precious store. Once used, you might not get any more. And you may be on the run from German occupiers who've invaded your homeland. And each match represents one evening of hot meals for the lads and the basic necessity of warmth for the English insurgents in the woods. And maybe that one match would keep the spark alive that keeps the home fires burning. One match to start a fire. This intense tone of burden and responsibility was deeply translated into each of us as we grew up. My mother's rules for final evaluation were as arbitrary and finite as life itself. On any given day, she would decide, tonight is your moment of truth. Find your wood, stack up your best efforts, you get one match. Let your hand be steady. Let no rogue wind blow out the flame or life. Cusp your light carefully, for if it's blown out, you fail. If your strike is off and you break the match, you fail. Should you carelessly select damp tinder and kindling, and the wet snuffs out your blaze, you failed. And the penalties for failure were hard. You not only had to endure the sneers of your siblings, the entire family unit suffered. No fire that night. No singing around the cozy embers at the end of the day. No heat. No hot food for dinner. And most egregious of all, no s'mores. In the annals of Howard family lore, it is my sister who made the record books. We were camping during a miserably cold and wet week in Alaska's Mount McKinley National Forest. My sister, the youngest, had just turned 8. We were spent after a long day of hiking and were completely soaked. The sun was setting, and we were looking forward to a stationary evening huddled around the campfire. To this day, I do not know what wild hair crept into my mother. The moment we got back to camp, stretching our belief in her sanity, she turned to my sister and said, "It's your turn. One match, fire." Recognizing the unbelievable unfairness of circumstances, my brothers and I protested, and we were quickly silenced with a look. Realizing the futility of civil disobedience against a woman who's both judge and jury, we scrambled with flashlights to help our sister find dry pine needles. And as a team, we decided to sacrifice my older brother's poncho. We created a small shelter against the wind and rain, and as three of us held the poncho close to the ground, my sister gingerly placed her tinder under this temporary haven, and in a daring maneuver, never again seen in the annals of Field and Stream, she half crawled under the poncho roof and, using her body as a shield, lit her one match. The fire started. Glory be to God. We were all tipsy with the feelings that come with success against adversity, all the more sweeter because we had succeeded as a team. And we pounded my sister on the back, and we jumped up and down and squealed as only winners can. And I'm going to see that tonight, aren't I? This family narrative taught me much about success in life. It reinforced to me that there are consequences to failure, just as there is satisfaction when you succeed. I also learned that you don't get to pick your moment of success. You must be ready when it is thrust upon you. This lesson was reinforced in 2009 when I took command of an expeditionary strike group. My command consisted of 16 amphibious ship and supporting forces. It's about 11,000 people. I immediately deployed to the Gulf of Aden in April, where I joined my staff at sea, and I took command of Task Force 151, a multinational organization with a mandate of fighting pirates. Within 48 hours of taking command, we were in a hostage situation at sea. The holding of Maersk, Alabama's Captain Richard Phillips on board a life raft by Somali pirates. My job and that entire flotilla's job was to get that guy back. Rapidly after the news, there were ships and forces en route to the Maersk, Alabama's location. And as the days unfolded, I and my staff worked around the clock, providing tactical synchronization, oversight, and decisions that come with a multi-ship and force mission. And that mission confirmed for me that people of the armed forces make miracles happen every single day. And when I think of the scope of personnel, ships, and aircraft involved, it's amazing how such a large team can come together and focus on a single American. And there is no doubt in my mind that every sailor and Marine, Army, Coast Guardman, and Air Force person in that mission was thinking of nothing else but Captain Phillips. And every one of your sons and daughters of this nation were ready to do their job, and their preparedness ensured that we were successful. In recalling those days, I must recognize the leadership and spirit of Captain Phillips. He made a tremendous sacrifice, offering himself as a captive to ensure his crew was freed. We in the military study the heroes of our services. We hope our traditions and history will carry us to do the right thing when it is our turn to be tested. In meeting Richard Phillips, I met a living hero, and he met his test with grace and strength. It's a reminder that each of us will have those times in our lives when the obstacles seem insurmountable, and each of you will have that moment when you want to be your best, and the opportunity will open, and the chance to make a difference in the world will be at your feet. And sometimes it comes in small things. Maybe it'll be a job interview, or maybe it'll be a chance to help somebody, or maybe it'll simply be mentoring someone else. Prepare. Be ready when success is thrust upon you. As I've grown older, I realize the wisdom of my mother, and sometimes in life you only get one match. And when you think about the metaphors between flame, light, and inspiration, there's deeper lessons. We frequently only get one chance in life to light a flame to inspire. And so tonight we have this ceremony. Many of us will leave this room, and this will be the only time together in our lives. And this speech is my best attempt at my one match. So let me end with a quote from John Quincy Adams, who in a letter to his son said, "I encourage you to dream more, learn more, do more, and be more. Every one of you who's in a seat, you are there because you have dreamed more. You are there because you have learned more." I would add, be ready so that you can do more when your time comes and you can become more. Make your one match count. Congratulations, CMS Winter Class of 2012. My best wishes on your future.